We've got updated numbers on Amazon Business. Big numbers. But should they have been bigger? We got new data out on Amazon Business and their GMV. We've been tracking Amazon Business's GMV very closely over the years, obviously. In 2018, we correctly predicted Amazon Business's GMV 3 months before they even announced it, because we had scrapers and we're kind of tracking what they're selling. So we predicted 10 billion in GMV in like the summer of 2018, and then a few months later they came out and announced that they were on track for 10 billion. We didn't predict this, but then Amazon disclosed that they were doing 25 billion in GMV in 2020. And now we've got recent data from Bank of America researchers saying that it looks like Amazon did 31 billion in 2021. And Bank of America is increasing their estimate to put Amazon Business at 41 billion in 2022. Bank of America, I guess, had previously estimated that they would do 31 billion in 2022. So they're saying that would be up from 31 billion in 2022. Now they're expecting to do 41 billion in 2022. And then you look at the chart and it shows that Amazon actually did 31 billion in 2022. So a little bit of weirdness there, but the interesting thing to keep in mind with this is Amazon Business over the past couple of years has been expanding internationally into other markets. So if you were to look at these numbers through 2018, 2019 is really when Amazon Business just started to go to Europe. And then maybe, more like end of 2019, 2020, and then certainly the past couple of years now, Amazon Business has been much more heavily investing in European expansion. But these numbers actually seem low to me. If you think about their US penetration, and they're not breaking out how much of this is from the US versus how much of this is from Europe. If these were just US numbers, I would be impressed. These are great numbers if it's just in the US. But then you have to understand that Amazon is siphoning off so much demand for this Amazon Business product from existing consumers, right? So they siphon off, your industrial supplies, your kind of MRO, your more easily pack and shippable items. We know that there's actually a number of B2B distributors, billion-dollar distributors selling through Amazon Business and enabling that stuff to happen, interestingly enough. But Amazon's now in multiple European countries. And so that's just net new greenfield opportunity, right? Like, hey, launch the thing, boom. Hey, now you can, as a consumer, millions and millions of consumers in Europe, hey, now you can get an Amazon Business account. There's perks to have an Amazon Business account. Probably a lot of that spend, or a chunk of that spend, was already happening on Amazon, just wasn't listed as Amazon Business. It was just listed as Amazon. So how much of this is actually net new growth versus just like a recategorization of business spend when there was no Amazon Business option in Europe? I think people are hyping this number a lot. It's a big number. Look at the projection, 83 billion in 2025. If you look at what we projected that Amazon Business, if they did 10 billion in 2018, 25 billion in 2020, then Amazon Business should be doing more than 75 billion in GMV at the end of 2023. So from 2020, if they did 25 billion, that they should be able to certainly more than double, if not get close to tripling themselves. So adding another 50 billion in volume in 3 years. Why is that? Because these things aren't supposed to grow linearly, right? They're supposed to grow like a hockey stick. If you're properly capturing kind of these winner take all, winner take most network effects. And what you have to understand about B2B is, yes, it's B2B, but each one of these verticals has its own level of nuance. And there's a bunch of different verticals within B2B. RBC, let's look at what RBC projected. RBC said in 2019, Amazon will do $52 billion in GMV by the end of 2023. And then we said, no, this should be more like 70, 75. Because we saw like, yeah, you're going to Europe and you're expanding and right? And all these kinds of things. Now, Bank of America is basically agreeing with that and saying, yeah, 53 billion by the end of 2023. So I'm not saying Amazon Business isn't making gains and isn't a threat. They're a tech monopoly. These aren't small volumes. They're growing. But B2B is just so big. Each one of these industries is $100+ billion, each one of these verticals. And Amazon Business has had some leadership leave. Like some of the leadership went to Office Depot's. Office Depot is trying to do a marketplace competitor. And the numbers are good. The numbers aren't great, frankly. Could COVID have impressed upon business customers to slow the shift to Amazon Business, right? Relatively. Still a shift. It's not like the shift isn't happening to marketplace and all this stuff, right? But to just reaffirm the importance of actually having the supply chain capability and owning the inventory, right? Amazon Business, huge part of this model is to have third-party sellers contribute inventory. B2B distributors are asset heavy. They're buying inventory and reselling inventory, right? So supply chain chaos. How do you get the inventory? Well, is the inventory actually going to make its way into the marketplace when you can't get the stuff in the first place? Maybe if you're price gouging, right? But I think there's an interesting story as to why it isn't a bigger gain. It's a gain. But yeah, could COVID have slowed this a little bit? Not a lot, but a little bit. Possibly. The other story is, could the B2B marketplace startups take a little bit of heat and competition against Amazon? That's also another possible likelihood, right? So in this study that we published last summer, we're going to update it soon here, our top 50 B2B marketplace ranking. We estimate that our top 50 B2B marketplaces in aggregate, this was as of 2020 data, we published it in Q2 of 2021. We're kind of looking at 2020 data, where Amazon Business did 25 billion in GMV. We estimated that the top 50 players did about 75 to 100 billion in GMV, right? So collectively, 3 to 4 times the volume of Amazon Business. We're going to be looking at what those numbers are and updating those numbers. That'll be coming out soon. So stay tuned for that. Hit that subscribe button to make sure you get those updates. I think, yeah, 2 things probably could contribute to why maybe the gains weren't as fast or as big as I'm sure some people inside of Amazon would have hoped, which is 1, COVID, and 2, there is a lot more competition from B2B marketplace startups than if you rewind the clock 20 years ago in B2C. If you like this video, go check out our videos highlighting who those top 50 B2B marketplaces are. And make sure to hit that subscribe button when we republish those results in the next couple months here.